You've got to break some eggs to make an omelette, haven't you? Right, let's go on with this.
Hello and welcome to our channel, Portugal on a Shoestring.
Hello again. Okay, now we've got the ceiling down and everything cleaned up in that room. We're going to deal with this doorway. Now this is in Diane's room. I'll show you that on the map. This is superfluous really. She's got an entrance over there and she's got a door here that goes through to the bathroom. So we want to get rid of this door. Now you could just put a framework in and put plasterboard here, but plaster may not stick to this wood or it may flake off in the future. So it's best to take all of this out and then we'll put plasterboard to completely fill the frame. We'll put a couple of sockets in as well, but yeah, we've taken the door off already, we've moved that out the way. So we're just going to get some hammers and crowbars and take all of this wood out and replace it all with steel framework and plasterboard. We'll put a couple of sockets in, one this side, one the other side while we're doing it. Yeah. So, yeah, make a bit of mess. You've got to break some eggs to make an omelette, haven't you? Right, let's go on with this. Right. The easiest way is probably to go in of these corners. Okay, they've got a half lap joint in, so we take it out at the bottom and she come out. Okay, now what we're left with is what the wall is actually made of, which is these sort of 2-inch thick planks. So we'll attach some metal framework to this, plasterboard both sides, and then we can skim over the whole lot. Right, we'll get this cleaned up a little bit and then we can start measuring up for the frameworks. Start on this frame. Right, we'll start at the bottom. 74. So, this is the perimeter track. It has straight sides, so the other piece will slot into it. Yeah. 74 centimetres. There. And you've seen this before. Cut through one side, cut through the other, bend it over, and cut it. We'll screw that to the floor, and then the uprights will slit into it. We'll also put another one at the top, so that will hold the uprights at the top. So it should just be an upright either side and one in the middle, should be plenty. Now what we're actually doing with this is we're going to try and put 2 layers of plasterboard on each side. Now what that does, it gives it a strong structure, but the main thing is that it cuts down on noise. If you want to soundproof something, the very best thing you can do is put 2 layers of plasterboard on. It'll work so much better than any insulation you put inside. You can put insulation inside as well, but the mass of the plasterboard will work 10 times better than insulation. And it's also cheap. You know, a piece of plasterboard that size costs about, what, 7 or 8 quid, something like that. You take a nail out. There we go. Right, what I've done there, just made up some setup blocks. So just some pieces of plasterboard. We've got our screws. And basically, we just want to make sure that whenever we put this, 2 layers of plasterboard comes under the level of this wall and the one on the other side. So it's about there. So we put a screw in there and then we check the other end. The same thing, 2 pieces either side, and just by eye, just make sure that the level or below. I'm going to be skimming this whole wall anyway, so as long as it's level or below, you'll never see it. Right, now we'll make another one of them and do the same thing up here. I measured that first one, but you can just offer it up and do that. Just mark where you want it. Just trim that a little bit, it's a little bit big. There we go. We got our uprights. And the easiest way again is to just pop it in the bottom slot, get yourself a pen and just mark off the full height less about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. People have asked me why I use this stuff. Basically because wood here, there's 2 problems with wood. One is we have a lot of woodworm and beetles and things like that eat it. But also because of cost, wood's quite expensive. To do this with what we used to call CLS or scant, 3B2, something like that, would cost, what is it, about 12 euros a length, and you'd need like 1, 2, 3, probably 4 lengths. Whereas this, each of these 3 metre lengths is 280 to 3 euros. So the cost is about 1/3, and it doesn't rot. It lasts forever. It's galvanised steel. The galvanising is really good. I mean, I've left this stuff outside for over a year and there's absolutely no sort of deterioration at all. Anyway, let's get this cut. Stop waffling. Get some work done. Keep your offcuts. Alright, they're no good for this job, but they'll be good for something at some point. Making a little box section or something like that. Anyway, put this in the slot. There we go. First piece. We'll secure it with a rivet, top and bottom. That's just this little tool. Amazon, any DIY place, Temu, all sorts of places will sell these. It's a bit like a stapler for metal. It just pushes it through and wraps a little bit around and just ties them together. So. You can use self-drilling screws for this, but that's plenty strong enough, and especially once it's got the plasterboard on, it'll be rock solid. Now we will just throw a couple of screws in here, more just to stabilise it than anything else, not really needed. Ordinary plasterboard screws will just drill straight through this. Right. Basically repeat that for that one and then just put a piece down the middle. I'll put you on time lapse and I'll get on with this. Right. Right, let's cut some plasterboard. And we've measured it off, it's 34 inches by 82. I'm not sure what that is in centimetres, but 86 centimetres by 208. Anyway, what we'll do first is we'll measure off the height. So, one end to the other, and just mark off 82, sorry. Now, rather than trying to cut measuring from that end, what we'll do is we'll measure from this end. It's a shorter distance, easier to do. Now this is for Chris at Tales from the Cave side. This is how you cut plasterboard without using a straight edge, right? You've got your mark on here. Take your tape and turn it back to front. Use your knife and hold it at the ends of the tape, like that. Put your knife on the mark, put your finger on the edge and clamp the tape. Then it's just a case of go down the board. You're not trying to cut through the plasterboard, all you're doing is cutting through the paper. Give it a bit of a belt. and then just cut through the paper on the back. Now to get the width, it's exactly the same. We'll measure from the bottom up 34 inches. But we'll actually do it from the top. So again, I've clamped on the edge, get your mark, clamp it off, so you know what it is, and I'll do it from this end so you can see it better. Crack, and then just cut it. There we go. Easy to do, a lot quicker than trying to do a straight edge. It's not as accurate. You will get wavery lines. That doesn't matter. That's all going to get filled with plaster, so it's fine. And no eyeball calibration required. Okay, we'll offer this up and see if it fits. Excellent. Right, one thing that will make your life easier when you're trying to put your screws in is before you put the board in place, just move it out of the way, and where you've got your steels, mark on the wall past where your board's going to be. And do the same on the floor. Then when you put your plasterboard in place, you'll still be able to see where these are. I will do another sheet, the same size as that, but you make it just a little bit bigger so it just overlaps slightly. What we'll do, we just put one screw in, just to stop it from falling down or anything. Right, that should do. Good and solid. I think we'll put a piece here, just a small piece, just to build it out, and then less plaster to do later. So I'll just cut that bit. That's all below the level of the plaster, so that will all get filled, even though it's not quite the same height there. But that doesn't matter. When we come to fill all this, we'll have one complete wall that's plastered all nice and smooth, and it can just be painted. Right, we've got to put electrics on this, so we're not going to do the other side until we've sorted the electrics out. But for this side, that's it done. Okay, so the idea of this is twofold really. Dan needs somewhere to start composting because it's beginning to sort of take things out of the garden that's finished, that we've harvested and stuff like that. Ultimately, we are going to build a 3-compartment composting station with these blocks, but they'll be sort of that way up and mortared together and everything. But good friend of ours, Tony, went round to us yesterday, and he'd basically done this. It's basically just stack blocks up into a square and just leave it at that. Now the weight of the blocks are plenty to stop it sort of falling over or anything like that. So as a temporary measure, just for sort of this winter, we've just done this. I've laid them on the side so they're more stable, and it's about a metre and a quarter by about a metre, so a reasonable size, enough for what we need for the moment. And during the winter we'll get the rest of the blocks down and we'll build it out the way somewhere. But this gets us started, and also all these blocks have got to come down here anyway, so once we've got part of the new one built, we'll transfer the compost and then we can use these blocks, so it's less to carry them around the house, you know. But yeah, it didn't take too long. I've just put these blocks in here just to give it a bit more stability in case it wobbles a bit, but it's fairly stable. You'd have to push it quite hard to push it over. Oh, right, it's about 8:30 in the morning, so yeah, I'll go and get some brekkie and a cup of tea. Right, see you later.
Oh, that's a lot easier. Excellent.
Pads. Now what we're left with is what the floor, blah 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 blah. Yep. Let it be here. Now to get the width, it's exactly the same. But